Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer, and this is a video about the Aries full moon for twin flames for October 13th. Let's just make sure I have this right. Yeah, October 13th, 2019. It looks like it's 5:07 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:07 p.m. Pacific, and Greenwich Mean, we're looking at 11:07 p.m. So this is the full moon that I am calling the Divine Masculine's full moon. We had the Divine Masculine's new moon earlier this year during Aries season. I believe it was in the month of April. This full moon and that new moon are linked together in a cycle. We are 6 months from that new moon, and at the halfway point between what that new moon started and what that new moon is going to bring to completion once we get to the Divine Masculine's full moon in 2020. I notate this as the Divine Masculine's full moon because in the wheel of the zodiac, Aries is the first masculine sign. The first feminine sign is Taurus. Next month, we will have the Divine Feminine's full moon. And what this full moon is showing us is what is coming to completion, full fruition, full recognition in the masculine energies within all of us here on planet Earth, and specifically for Divine Masculine energies. This full moon is incredibly powerful. I was really called to put this video out closer to the time of the full moon. However, the power of the energy and the magnitude of the energy and the way it's showing up not only in my sessions with clients, but also in those around me on the earth at this time, because this energy can be so intense, my guides were like, no, now, you need to put it out now, so that people understand how to work with the energies as the intensity ratchets up in the coming days. This full moon is a very decisive full moon. It is full of clarity. It's full of sharp, intense, decision-making energy. Like I said, it's a very decisive full moon. But I want to say that even though the energy within you is coming forward in a very decisive way, like, okay, got it, it's time for me to do X, I should execute on this, it's not the time to make decisions. A decisive energy happening in a time when it's not yet appropriate to make decisions in partnership, because we still have the partnership asteroid, the Divine Feminine, sitting here in the sign of discernment, means that the right order and the right time has not arisen. This is still the moment for weighing things up. So, if you've been feeling like this kind of decisive energy within you, masculine or feminine, about, okay, I got to let go, or okay, I got to jump in, or okay, I need to pull the trigger on this or move on that, it's a counterbalancing energy to everything that we've experienced this year. And it's meant to help you understand by contrast where we have dragged our feet a little bit during the year, where we've been slow to take in the lesson, integrate the lesson, and then act on the lesson, and give us that little bit of clarity about which things we need to act on in the coming months as we move into 2020. So, as a masculine full moon, this full moon is also showing us what within our masculine energies we are now clear and ready to lay to rest. part of this is because, it's a full moon, which represents completions in a masculine sign, the first masculine sign of the zodiac, Aries. And simultaneously, because as we have approached this full moon, Jupiter is now going to be, and Jupiter represents the divine masculine in the way that I read for twin flames. Jupiter is now going to be outside of its retrograde zone. So it went retrograde back to about 14 degrees Sagittarius from April all the way through August of 2019. Then it had a period of time where, even though it had turned direct at 14 degrees, it had to go all the way back, travel back to 20 degrees, which was the furthest it got this year before it moved backwards, apparently backwards in the sky. Now that Jupiter is at that 20-degree mark again, at that mark that it was at before it went retrograde, Jupiter is now ready to progress along the path of truth and higher ideals that Sagittarius represents for us, all of us. Jupiter is ready to progress along that path toward the implementation of that truth once it gets itself out into the manifestation sign through work ethic, Capricorn. Jupiter arrives in Capricorn in December, but it's not there yet. So for the divine masculine and for the masculine energies within all of us, there is a certainty and a clarity and a decision that's been made to some degree about what it is that we need to do to have our realities line up with our truth, have our inner truth be reflected in the outer world. The other reason why it's not exactly time to make decisions, it is simply a time to recognize the decisive energy within us, is not just because Jupiter's not there in the manifestation time yet, or the manifestation sign, I should say, through our work and in the outer world, 3D world, Capricorn, Earth sign, material plane. It gets there in December, but also because Mercury is about to turn retrograde. We are approaching Mercury's shadow period, where Mercury is approaching the furthest it's going to go before it turns retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. And this represents the final of 3 Mercury retrogrades this year. It'll be the last one before we head into 2020. This Mercury retrograde, being one of 3 that happened all in water signs, is bringing a lot of emotionality and the culmination, because this is the final one. We had the Pisces one in February, the Cancer one back in June, July, I believe, or May, June, and now we've got the final one, the Scorpio one, approaching, bringing a culmination in the recognition of our emotional truths, our emotional integrity. And because it's in the sign of Scorpio, which represents alchemy, transformation, and change, Mercury representing mind and communication, what we've got here is this recognition of that which we are going to have to submit to the altar of alchemy and transformation in order to have the divine come and meet us so that things can actually change. The decision, to some degree, for all of us is something that we've probably been in recognition of since that first retrograde, just before Jupiter turned retrograde, that first Mercury retrograde back in March. That first Mercury retrograde would have been during Pisces season back in March, and there would have been some kind of understanding of, okay, there's some things that I need to do here that can't be this way if what I want is a partnership that does X, Y, and Z with my twin. I need to change, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, and the fill in the blank. For some of you, this represents marriages that you need to bring to completion, or houses that need to get sold, or property that needs to get sold because you're financially tied in with someone who's not your twin, or emotionally or structurally tied in with someone who's not your twin. For others of you, this represents there are certain health issues that you know you need to go ahead and you need to dig in. You gotta start rolling up your sleeves and doing the heal thyself work. And still for others, there's a recognition of careers that need to be changed, um, businesses that need to be started or sold. Whatever it is for you, it's going to be represented by by the house and placements inside of that house that are governed by Capricorn. This Mercury retrograde at this time is tied in with this Capricorn energy that's been going on all year because Pluto rules Mercury. Mercury is here, mind and communication, in the sign of Scorpio, which is all about life, death, and rebirth cycles. And Pluto governs those cycles by as a planet by transit. So, this is why it's not exactly yet time to make the decision. It's time to do the things required that make the decision possible. So, this is about not skipping steps. This is in part about rolling up your sleeves and doing the things that have been hard to do all year long that you may have delayed in doing. This is about putting on your big kid pants and saying, well, it's now or never. 2020 is upon me, and I recognize what needs to get done. I've been putting it off, and now it's time for me to energetically get into alignment so that as Jupiter approaches Capricorn in the coming weeks after this full moon and after this Mercury retrograde is done, I'm in a position to run, not walk to the nearest exit on the things that are coming to completion. Now, there are 2 videos on my channel that it will behoove you to take a look at to better understand this energy. Like I said, the first one is the Aries new moon, the divine masculine's new moon for this year. The second one is the Cancer Capricorn eclipses, and it's called, I think, Cancer Capricorn Eclipses Divine Prep for 2020. They explain this energy here going on between Pluto, Chariklo, the South Node, and Saturn, which have been dancing in the sign of Capricorn all year long. The 3 of these, minus Chariklo, we'll get to her in a minute, but the 3 of these act as a baseball bat hitting a vase. That would be Saturn. Or actually Pluto breaking that vase. Saturn comes along with a broom and dustpan and says, I don't think you need this anymore. Let's just sweep this up. I know it was your favorite vase, but you don't really need it. And then they throw it into almost like a toilet so you can't get it back. That's the way the South Node is acting by transit here. The South Node is just simply a sensitive point in the chart representing that which we have come from, our karma, that which we are ready to release and send out to the divine, because it's complete. With that baseball bat to the vase, Pluto, life, death, and rebirth cycles, that vase can't be put back in together anymore. It is done, done. And Saturn, that restorer of integrity, going, well, we can't leave broken glass on the ground. We got to clean this up. We got to put this away. Sorry, I know you love that vase, but you no longer need it. Time to rebuild things that only work for you. And the South Node going, we'll get that out of the way for you. The 3 of these are really working as a cosmic cleanup act to the area of life that Saturn governs. Now, depending upon your chart and what your twins chart looks like and your union chart looks like, this could be happening across multiple areas of life, because not only is it touching the area of life governed by Capricorn by direct conjunction, it's also touching the area of life governed by Cancer by opposition, and the area of life governed by Aries and Libra by square. And this is going to be different for everyone depending upon their chart. But essentially, this is the things that we have worked on, Capricorn, that we have applied our work ethic to. This is why for some of you who are dealing with a twin, who may be in a partnership with someone else, it has been difficult to see them leave that just because they have worked on it. Things we have worked on with our masculine energy, things a man has built, it's a lot harder for him to want to tear down once he's put his heart and soul into it. Whether you're male or female, if your masculine energy has dedicated itself to building something, really hard to tear it down with your own hands, despite the universe kind of giving you all of the signs that it's done and over. That's Capricorn. Cancer is family. It's also our emotional integrity. Aries is our self, our sense of self, and our identity. And Libra is our partnerships, the people that we partner with one-to-one, romantically and professionally. All of this would have amounted to a lot of tension this year in the arena, in those four arenas that would have also played itself out for many people financially. In terms of the structure of their home, where they live, the place they live in, the city that they live in. It would have also played itself out for some people in terms of their children, the children that they parent, that they co-parent, that they want to have, that they have had or conceived and then miscarried. All of this energy has been about forcing us to wake up, forcing us to look at the truth. And that's Jupiter here in Sagittarius, truth, higher ideals. That's Sagittarius. And Jupiter, the divine masculine, and the masculine energies within all of us, has awoken to the truth, is clear about the truth as we move forward from this full moon on into 2020. There is no way to lie to ourselves anymore. There is only a certainty and a clarity about, once you, for example, tongue-tied, one mouth, too many words. The way to say it is this: you can't unknow what you know. You can't unsee what you've seen. Once your eyes have been open, you can't pretend that you no longer understand the truth. And that was the divine masculine's journey this year. It was a journey toward understanding the truth of who he is, the truth of the connection, the truth of what his work is here in the world, who he's meant to be, the ways in which he has gotten in his own way, allowed other people to take him off of his path. That clarity is now upon him. And all of us, the desire to do something about it is also there with this full moon. But remember, this is the time to sit in the clarity by contrast. It's not necessarily yet the time to act. That's coming. But this is the time to just recognize, light bulb, these are the things I need to be doing. All right. So that's the overarching energy of this full moon. I'm going to get into some of the specific energies for the divine feminine and the divine masculine and how this is all playing out. But if you already know that this stuff it's been simmering and brewing for you, and you just want confirmation on your intuition, or you've been confused and you want clarity so that you know how to walk into 2020 powerfully and really wield your masculine energy to a goal that is in alignment for you, now's a great time to book a reading. The calendar is open for October 16th through 31st. If you'd like to book a reading, there are about half the spots left. You can email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com to get that reading scheduled. The calendar opens this Friday, and those who have prepaid get the opportunity to go ahead and get first pick at the calendar. Like I said, 50% of those spots are gone, but there's still 50% left. So would love to have a conversation with you about that. All right. Let's see. Yeah. So the time between now and the Aries new moon, the divine masculine's new moon during Aries season next year in 2020. So between now, October, and roughly mid-April next year, you are going to see your own masculine energies. And if you're a divine masculine, your life showing you the ways in which it is time for you to get very centered in yourself. This is different than being a self-centered person. Being self-centered is more, there's both of them are about putting ourselves first, but being self-centered comes with doing it at the expense of other people. A thoughtlessness and a recklessness about those we're connected to. What this new full moon is showing us is all the ways in which we have compromised ourselves out of a want to be connected to other people, a want to make certain things work, because this whole cosmic cleanup situation is squaring Libra, our partnerships. And the full moon is happening out here in Aries. There's a T-square here. So all the ways we've compromised ourselves are now going to come to light. They're going to be unignorable. Your body is going to start telling you the truth. That's Capricorn, about where you have let other people run roughshod all over you. And simultaneously, your relationships are going to start telling you the truth about where they have run their course. Your kids are going to start reflecting the truth back to you with this particular full moon. If you've got children, they're going to be showing you ways in which your compromise has compromised them. So they're going to start reflecting back to you ways you need to step up into your truth. These 4 areas of body, work, relationships, and family are going to start speaking in some unignorable ways during this particular full moon. So pay attention to the messages, because post this full moon, right after we go through the Mercury Retrograde period, we're going to be all of us on a track toward deeper centeredness in ourself as we get into that Aries new moon in April of next year. Because what's going to happen is some of this energy here with Lilith coming to join Chiron and Aries, Chiron being the healer, Lilith being my way or the highway. I'd rather have nothing than have this. And Aries being spite and disharmony and discord. That energy is all going to pile itself up in Aries, the sign of the self. And there's going to be, for everyone, an energy between now and a building tension-filled energy between now and April of next year around, what do I need to do to get my life on track? Get my life where I need it to be. And much of that is going to be so that if I am in a divine partnership, that divine partnership has the opportunity to actually flourish. Because right now, for some people, These divine partnerships are, I wouldn't say under attack, that's not it, but they are, they're bearing a lot of tension. Given the placement of Juno and the placement of Jupiter, they're sitting in a square in this chart. They're moving in different directions. The life of the divine feminine and the life of the divine masculine, they're not sitting harmoniously with one another. They will shortly here, and I'll get to that in a minute. But this month, there's so much tension between the two. Even for couples in union, there's a lot coming at them that is asking them to transform the way they're living, to allow each one of them to live higher versions of themselves and who they are. In the realm of work, in the realm of family, it all depends on what Sagittarius governs and Virgo governs in your own individual chart. So, like I said, if you want to have a look at that, we can look at what you're being asked to do here by way of preparation. So, yeah, Lilith and Nessus will transit Aries. It's just going to be a very self-centered roll into spring. So try not to take anything personally from here until like June of next year. Don't take anything anyone's doing personally. Just expect that people are going to get to a place of real, you're going to see people's true colors because people's backs are going to start to be up against a wall. And they already are in a lot of ways. But there's going to be a lot of focus on what do I need to do. And so the thing to remember here is that this, it's always what do I need to do so that I can be the best version of me, the version of me that I feel like the divine is asking of me, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. So some of the other specific energies is that at this time, Juno is almost sitting directly opposite Lilith. Juno, being the divine feminine at 21 degrees Virgo, is opposing Lilith at 18 degrees Pisces. That's an interesting energy because that's an energy that's letting us know that the way that our feminine energies would have it is kind of almost opposite what the connection is asking for. For for some people, this could mean, do we really need to talk about the past? Like, I'd prefer we could just settle into something cozy. Do we have to rehash the past or talk about the way things didn't go right before? Yeah, the way she would have it is other than what the connection is asking for. Yeah, you do got to rehash the past. You do got to work on the forgiveness, work on the truth telling, work on the discernment, work on what red flags did I miss? What kind of thing, where have I counted myself out? Where have I put too much expectation? All of that has to be looked at in order for the connection to actually thrive. For some of you, this means letting go. It could mean stepping forward and speaking truth. It could mean staying open when you'd rather close. It could mean loving while you also walk away. It could mean a divorce from a soulmate or letting your twin stay married to live uh, to his soulmate or her soulmate without any ill wish from the feminine side that may be feeling scorned or may have felt scorn in the process. There's so many ways that this could play out. Like, again, this is highly contingent on your chart, but because the masculine energy in all of us is arriving at this moment of truth, that's what this full moon is. What's going on is a certainty about there's a way that I would prefer this was going that it's not, and so I just got to give it over. I got to give it up. That that old saying, let go and let God, is very applicable here for the divine feminine during this particular full moon. The other reason that there's kind of a needing to let go, or a needing to recognize the tension for the divine feminine that's going on, is that the feminine energies in all of us are getting deeper awareness about our masculine energies. Not only because Juno is square Jupiter at this time by transit, and she's the faster moving planet, or asteroid, I should say. She's getting clarity because she's also in a trine, which is a harmonious flow of energy from Pluto. Pluto being the slower moving planet, Pluto shining a light to her, Pluto imbuing her energy with a lot of this life, death, rebirth cycle energy, Pluto being lord of the underworld, Pluto being lord of transformation and alchemy, Pluto kind of filling her with that energy of death and transformation, while she sits here in the sign of discernment, is positioning her toward a recognition of what she needs to let go of and what she needs to let die in order so that she herself can live. So so that her feminine side doesn't die with this transit of Saturn South Node and Pluto through Capricorn. There's a recognition. It's the scene that's coming to mind, if you've ever seen Titanic, where I can't remember, I saw it so many years ago, but she has to let her love go so that, she can actually stay afloat on her little piece of driftwood, or her raft, whatever it is, because he can't get in it with her, and both of them fit in it. If he gets in it with her, they both go down, and they kind of have this recognition of that. And so he allows her to stay in it. She accepts his choice, but they both recognize that this is going to mean certain death for him in a way. Divine Feminine is getting a lot of awareness about that which she needs to step up and protect with her own masculine energy, the places in her life that are begging her to provide attention, and that which she is ready to co-create with the divine as her divine consort. Because there are certain ways with this square between her and her divine masculine, he's not available for co-creation at this time. God is, the divine is, but he's not. So even for twins in union, there's this energy of recognition of, all right, I see you've got things you need to do, and those things do not pertain to me. So out of love for you and love for me, I am going to choose to drop any expectation that what it is could be any different. And I'm going to step back and surrender this connection to the divine. And I'm going to step into co-creatorship with God himself and let God be my divine consort at this moment in time. That's what's going on for the feminine energies, is a deep surrender, because Pluto, there's some things she's been holding on to all this year with an over my dead body kind of energy. And Pluto, again, life, death, and rebirth cycles, Lord of the underworld, God of transformation and alchemy. Pluto is going, oh yeah, over your dead body? All right, come here. I'll show you dead. I'll show you what's dead. And don't worry, I'll take it out of your cold dead hands too. How macabre. So that's what's going on here with that. Because there's also, this Pisces Virgo energy here. Pisces is the all, it's the everything. And that's where Lilith is sitting. Lilith being that feminine power of I will have it all my way or I would have nothing, but I refuse to compromise. Lilith is very uncompromising, and she's sitting here in the sign of deep spirituality. Virgo is sitting out here in the sign of deep materiality, the physical world. There's a recognition of what she's now called upon to call out of the ether and into the world. She's got the power to make these changes. In some ways, for some of us, this is what Ian Levanzant says is about scooping out the rot from within us with our own two hands. That's a lot of what this energy is recognizing what within us has not grown, has festered, has waited too long, has tarried, has died on the vine, and recognizing, okay, I see what I need to do. Not the time. It's a decisive energy, but it's not the time to act on the decision yet. This is just a moment of stark awareness, naked truth. Okay. All right, so we got to that one. We talked about the divine masculine being out of the retrograde zone. Let's talk about this Venus-Mercury conjunction here in the sign of Scorpio, sextile Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. So a sextile is the energy of work in order to get a benefit, whereas a trine is like you putting your boat into a moving river, and that river just takes you along to your destination. If you want to get to a destination, this is you putting a boat in still water and needing to row it with oars to get to where you want to go. Sextiles give benefit, but you got to do the work to get it. And the work that's being asked of us between Scorpio, and that's hosting Venus and Mercury, communication, mind, and what we're attracted to and love. And Capricorn, again, there's that baseball bat, broom and dustpan, and toilet. There's a recognition of what we need to let die in Scorpio, because Scorpio is about death and alchemical cycles and transformation. What we need to let die in the name of letting love live. This could be certain expectations. This could be, our ego and our pride. This could be personal patterns of self-destruction or self-compromise. There's something that we have built and invested in, a behavior or a pattern or a certain dream or certain, things that we thought would go a certain way, or a self-identity as a strong independent person, or certain communication patterns that we have that keep us safe from vulnerability and exposure to love. All of these are really being laid bare on the altar at this time for the divine to take and transform for us. This is a little bit of the energy of needing to step, for some of us, needing to step in the closet and kill our darlings, and the things that we've been overly precious about, so that in another 120 days from now, when the divine masculine and the masculine planet of Jupiter moves into the manifestation sign of Capricorn, we're in a place where via our own work and effort, there's an opportunity for the thing that we sacrificed for to live in a new way, for the divine to pull a Lazarus, to resurrect it in a way that we didn't see possible. And that brings us to Chariklo. So I mentioned that I would get to Chariklo later, and this is later. Chariklo is the energy sitting with Pluto here at 19 degrees, and they've been sitting together all year, where Pluto is taking things away and creating death and endings. Chariklo is sitting right by his side and has been all year saying, and tell me what it is you would like to have restored, and I will intercede on your behalf so that it becomes back to you in a form better than what you had in the first place. But Chariklo, as the handmaiden to Athena in the mythology, was uh, you know, allowed to wait on the goddess, but one of the rules was no mortal man is to look upon me naked. Um, no problem, right? No big deal. You've always got clothes on until the day she went to the river to bathe. Chariklo is holding her clothes. Athena steps into the water. She looks up. She sees a man across the river from her. Immediately, she strikes him blind. She recognizes him as a mortal man, but at that moment, Chariklo recognizes him to be her son. Her son is a hunter. She pleads with the goddess, my son can't do his work without his eyes. You've taken away his livelihood. He knows who I am, and had he known it was you, he would not have looked upon you. Athena thinks on this, and she says, well, no, I'm not going to give his eyesight back, but instead I will give him the ability to see without sight. And her son became a psychic seer after that. Much of traditional astrology will call Chariklo a source of psychic energy within a chart, but in that story, that's not actually who she was. Who she was someone who interceded on behalf of a mortal in the ear of the god to make sure that the mortal could get back what had been lost. This is what Chariklo has been doing all year here with Pluto. And with this particular full moon, now is a great time to make a list of and an accounting of your losses that you would like to see restored to you. Pray to whatever god you pray to in whatever form your prayer works. And let your God know these are the things that I need returned to me so that my life can move forward. Be honest in that prayer as well. In that story, Chariklo's son really couldn't live or do his right work in the world without his eyes. And he still wasn't going to be able to do that work. Being a psychic doesn't mean you can hunt a deer. He got new work out of this. But Chariklo will intercede on your behalf. These are your guardian angels looking over your shoulder and saying, tell me what you need. I will ensure that you get it. But they can't intervene on your behalf unless you have invited them to do so. That's the way it works on the free will planet. So, speak to the divine. Now is the time, especially with this full moon. Recall that this is a moment of naked truth. There is a decisive energy, but now is not the time to act on the decision. Now is a great time to take your feminine energy and reach out to support from the divine and say, these are the things that have been taken from me. These are the things I've laid on the altar this year. These are the things I need back. All right? Okay. What else do my notes say? Yep, lots of courage at this time for the masculine energies as Jupiter's now out of the retrograde zone, getting ready to move to Capricorn. The sun is illuminating the retrograde zone for the divine feminine. So here's Juno, that divine feminine asteroid, still sitting here in the sign of discernment and dedication, Virgo, about to come sit in the sign of Libra and settle into that sign for a good 12 months, 9 months out of that, doing a retrograde dance. Notice 9 cycles, completions, window of birth. From conception to birth, the divine feminine is going to sit there in the sign of partnership in between the shaman's asteroid and the creation goddess for 9 months. And so for all of us, our feminine energy is going to be called toward partnership, divine partnership. Now remember, late next year, early next year, I should say, we're going to have that intensifying energy of what we need to be doing for ourselves as the divine feminine sits there in this partnership energy. 2020 is going to have a lot of tension for both divine masculine and divine feminine energies. Now, some of you, as Juno comes to sit here, I've spoken to many of you in the last several weeks. As Juno comes to sit here, this is going to open a year-long communication window between you and your twin. For others of you, this is going to open up a year-long window of time where each of you needs to be cleaning up anything in your life that's getting in the way of the potential for you to choose union once that window is done. But the cleanup window is going to be unrelenting, I guess is a way to put it. And it's all starting now with the truth that's being recognized with this full moon energy. So if you want to have a look at what's possible in your chart between you and your twin, the thing to do would be to email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com. You'll get an autoresponder first, which has all of the booking details that you need. And then if you don't have any questions, you feel free to book. I'll send you back the scheduling link as early as this Friday, when the calendar opens for October 16th through the 31st. And that brings me to one of the last things I'm going to share, is that there is a new communication window that's going to open between now and the next full moon, sometime within the next 3 weeks. That communication window will occur as soon as Juno, the divine feminine, gets out here to Libra. She'll be sitting in a sextile position to the divine masculine in between her arrival there in Libra and his arrival in Capricorn. That sextile position, it's not the most favorable for communication, the way we had a trine earlier this year when she was out here in Leo. Not the most favorable for communication. It's not, and when she was out here in Aries, that would have also been a trine where her, again, that's you putting your boat in the river, the current just taking you where you want to go. This sextile energy is more of an energy of both people got to be willing to do it in order for it to work. Both people got to be open. Both people got to be willing to look at their truths that have arisen this year and be with those truths in order for communication to be reciprocated. Again, for some of you, this is already in harmony with the way your natal charts are set up. And so it's just a matter of one of you making the first move. For others of you, this is going to be a period of quick check-in before the two of you put your heads down and do a year's worth of work, to just get things to a place where you both have the opportunity to choose coming together if that's what you so desire. It's going to be up to each person. But that communication window opens, I think it's 11/4. Let me just look. Confirm this for all of us. 2019. Yeah, here she is at 0 degrees Libra, and it's short. It's really not more than the month of November. That communication window opens and then it shuts as soon as Jupiter moves out here into Capricorn. They now sit in squaring signs and squaring energies. So if you're curious, let me know. We can have a look at it in your charts. And see what the stars are indicating for the work ahead for you guys. Let's just see if there's anything else here in my notes. Pluto and Saturn, T-square to moon opposite sun. Added motivation, which we talked about. So here's Pluto and Saturn, T-square. Here's to the moon. Here's to the sun. There's a square in a T formation. There's just added motivation to kind of get on with it. do the things we need to do to end the patterns, the routines, the structures, the behaviors, the relationships, the jobs, the businesses that have bound us and stopped us from really being who we truly are. So know that this is a preparation window and a period of preparation that's based on a recognition of the truth in our masculine energies, and that our masculine energies are truly wanting to step up and provide and protect our own feminine energies so that the two of them can work in harmony toward the co-creation of that which we're meant to be doing on the planet. Once again, I appreciate you listening. I love to hear how this is resonating for you in the comments. The tension is real. Try not to act in it. Wait until we get out of the Mercury retrograde before taking action, because there's just going to be information coming to light over the course of that Mercury retrograde that will help you make more informed decisions. All right. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and sharing, and I look forward to reading for you when the time is right.